On this vote, the yeas are 221 and the nays are 212. The resolution is adopted.
The House is back in session today after voting to formalize an impeachment inquiry into President Biden last night. Now, this authorizes lawmakers to escalate the probe into the president's family's business dealings.
And if you look closely, you'll see that on your screen that the vote was along party lines. And as you might expect, so was the commentary afterward.
They've got a mountain of evidence, but all the evidence shows that Joe Biden is not guilty of any presidential offense. In fact, their own witnesses came to their only public hearing on impeachment, and to a witness said that they did not see sufficient evidence to justify impeachment.
Evidence uncovered has shown a very disturbing trend by the Biden family. We've spent months in this investigation accumulating evidence. We have a simple question that I think an overwhelming majority of Americans have. What did the Bidens do to receive the tens of millions of dollars from our enemies around the world?
CBS News politics reporter Zak Hudak joins us now. So, Zach, what exactly does this vote mean for that investigation into the president and his family?
It doesn't mean a lot in terms of what they're actually able to do day to day. These committees that have been already investigating the Biden family actually already have subpoena power. So while it adds a little bit extra weight when they make a demand, it doesn't give them any major direct additional power. What it does do, and what will have a bigger impact going into the 2024 election, is that it more or less guarantees that this investigation is going to go deep into 2024 and going to go into a point where it's actually affecting the views that Americans have as they're going to the ballots. So the big change here is that it lengthens just how long this tough look at Joe Biden and Hunter Biden will take.
And you wonder, Zach, how this is relevant to people in their daily lives in the meantime. You know, how does this formalizing of the impeachment process and this vote heighten political tension there, which may get in the way of passing bills?
You know, there has really been, over the past 4 or 5 years, a major increase in tension on Capitol Hill, and particularly in the House of Representatives. I think some of that started with the 2019 first impeachment of Donald Trump, but it really heightened after January 6th and after you saw the two parties in the House take totally different stances on it. You saw House GOP members downplaying it and saying that that was not an attempted insurrection. And there were Democrats in the House saying, look, we felt like our lives were in danger that day. After that, there was, of course, the second impeachment of Donald Trump that followed. And since then, we have already gone through 2 additional House speakers. Nancy Pelosi finished her time as speaker, and then Kevin McCarthy lasted not even an entire year. So tensions have been boiling over and continue to increase. And when you start hearing the word impeachment thrown around, it automatically affects the way that Americans are looking at what's happening on Capitol Hill. And those members there hear that from their constituents. That makes them less likely to cross the aisle and work with their counterparts. So if anything, tensions are getting higher than they have ever been. But this has been boiling over for about 4 years now.
Yeah, and to follow up on that point then, do you think there's enough overlap between, moderates on both sides to still pass important bills, funding bills among them?
That is the question that is plaguing a lot of us here in the Beltway, and particularly the members themselves on Capitol Hill. A lot of them do want government to work the way it's intended, but the reality is it does make things more difficult when you are dealing with people who you feel are, doing purely political stunts in your body. However, I will say just this morning, $886 billion defense bill passed through the House, and that passed with bipartisan support. It was 310 to 118. So it does show that there is still room to compromise, and that even as tensions boil over, there are still a number of people in the House that want to get things done. So I think for the time being, we're going to see things that need to get done. We'll just see them brush up to the final hour, and members really have to take a position of, am I going to continue this feud, or am I going to do what I'm here to do, which is to pass laws?
Right. There'll just be a lot more fireworks in the meantime. Zak Hudak joining us from our D.C. bureau. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
And for more on this, CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang joins us now. Weijia, we heard really a rare response from the president. Talk to us about what he said.
Well, the president issued a statement in response, and basically he said that while he is working on behalf of the American people, Republicans are just playing this political fight. Here's a bit of his statement saying, unfortunately, House Republicans are not joining me. Instead of doing anything to help make Americans' lives better, they are focused on attacking me with lies. And so he has responded. And as you mentioned, typically he does not. But I do think that this is indicative of perhaps some frustration that the president is feeling because some of his legislative priorities are, of course, stalled or not even beginning to take off because of the friction that continues to be the backdrop on Capitol Hill.
We heard a mention there that there was passage of, I think, the National Defense Authorization Act. So there's some bipartisan agreement on some bills, but this escalation of the impeachment process and the hyper-partisanship, which is kind of interesting to say now, considering what we've been through for the past few years, is going to jam up the president's agenda. How does the White House plan to tackle that?
Well, this isn't necessarily anything new for the president. Yeah, he's been under investigation by these lawmakers for quite some time now. And so I also don't think that it'll impact the agenda that much because the partisan lines are already there. They're already drawn. They are already delaying his legislative goals. But this does heighten it. And as you mentioned, Errol, these things take time. So if time is focused here, it's taken away from other priorities.
Well, and speaking of that, Weijia, lawmakers at the White House have been trying to reach a deal that would include aid for Israel and Ukraine, as well as ramp up border security, which the Republicans have said is a top priority. Where do these talks stand?
Well, they're ongoing. And just last night, Senator Chuck Schumer said that, the talks are continuing, and it seems like they are making some progress. The question is at what cost for the administration, which is very focused on getting this massive national security package passed. But as you pointed out, Lana, it's not just about funding for the border. Republicans want policy changes. And CBS News has reported that the White House is open to some pretty striking changes at the border that includes expelling migrants without processing their asylum claims, that includes more detentions and deportations. And so if those become any new policies, the president has to face Democrats and immigration advocates because it's such a startling reversal from where we began with regard to his policies. But because Republicans are demanding changes, the president wants to find compromise. Otherwise, all of that money for Ukraine, for Israel, for the border, for other countries in the Indo-Pacific goes nowhere.
Yeah, but it is stunning to hear that the White House is actually considering potentially some of those, that level of changes on the border. All right, Weijia Jiang at the White House. Thank you.
Thank you, Weijia.